Part 1 of Tales of English Minsters, Hereford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by David Wales. Tales of English Minsters, Hereford, by Elizabeth Grierson, Part 1. It is possible that anyone who visits Hereford Cathedral, after having visited the other two great cathedral churches of the west of England, Worcester and Gloucester, may feel a little disappointed, for it is smaller and plainer than either of them, and there are not so many stories that can be told about it. It has no royal tomb, nor any great outstanding saint, yet in one respect it is the most interesting of the three. Indeed, in this one respect, it is the most interesting of all the English cathedrals, for it does not only carry our thoughts back, as the others do, to the days when the torch of Christianity was relit in England by missionaries from Iona and Canterbury, but it takes them farther back still to the days when the early British Church existed and had bishops of her own. For, as doubtless you know, Christianity was brought to Britain from Gaul as early as 200 years after Christ. We do not know who brought it. The names of the first missionaries are forgotten. Probably they were humble Christian soldiers who came in the ranks of the Roman legions, and they would be followed by a few priests sent after them by the Church in Gaul to minister to them. And from the ranks of these priests one or two bishops would be consecrated. It all happened so long ago that it seems vague and far away, and it is difficult to pick out authentic facts. We can only say with an old historian that we see that the light of the Word shined here, but see not who kindled it. Perhaps you know also that this early Christianity was swept away from all parts of the country, except in Ireland and Wales, by the coming of the heathen Angles, Saxons, and Danes. We can easily understand how these two parts of what to us is one kingdom managed to hold the faith. They were more or less undisturbed by the fierce invaders who came from the north of Germany and from Denmark, and who were quite content to settle down in fertile England without taking the trouble to cross the Irish Channel and fight with the savage Irish tribes, or penetrate into the wild and hilly regions of Wales. So it came about that while the English people were so harassed and worried with war and cruelty that they forgot all about the new doctrines which had been beginning to gain a slender foothold in their land, the people of Wales had still their church and bishops. These bishops seem to have held much the same sees as the Welsh bishops hold today: Bangor, Llandaff, Menevia, or St. David's, Llanowli, or St. Asaph, and three others with strange Welsh names, one of which was Hereford, which meant the place of beeches, and which we now know as Hereford. For in these days Wales was larger than it is now, and was bounded by the Severn, and Hereford was a Welsh town, if town it could be called, not an English one. These bishops were governed by an archbishop, who is spoken of sometimes as living at Caerleon on Usk, sometimes in Llandaff, and sometimes at Hereford. Now, of course, you have all heard about King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and you may have read about them in Tennyson's Idylls of the King, about their bravery and chivalry and purity, and how they took an oath to break the heathen and uphold the Christ, to ride abroad redressing human wrongs, to speak no slander, no, nor listen to it. And about Bishop Dubric, who crowned the king at Cirencester and married him to Guinevere his wife. Part of those wonderful stories is purely legendary, but part is true, for it is believed that King Arthur was a real person, and so were many of his knights. Bishop Dubric, or Dubricus, certainly was a real person, for we know that he was Bishop of Hereford, and it is said that it was Sir Geraint, the knight who married Enid and rode with her in her old faded dress to court, who built the first little church here, where the bishop had his chair or stool. Be that as it may, it is certain that there was a tiny little cathedral here long before the other English cathedrals were thought of, for you know that a church is
Sample complete. Ready to continue?